Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Mahindra Scorpio Classic. And classic actually means dated or old, and that's what this car is right in front of me. It's finished in black. Black is very dominating color. That's the reason the car perfume I'm going to be showing you right now is actually having a very heavy fragrance. This is the Involve Rainforest Black Stone. It is an amazing perfume made of expensive oils to give you a breathtaking experience. Coming to the car, well, it is old, but they've actually made many changes to this car, including to the engine, which actually happens to be the second generation model of the engine, that is. Okay, washer fluid actually goes in here. You can feel a bit of the vibrations and sound, but it's a bit more refined when compared to before, actually quite a bit more refined. There's insulation here, but this is not open. What? Yes, that hood scoop is no longer functional. Earlier engine actually had the intercooler here. This one does not, so they have actually sealed it, but they have continued to give you the hood scoop, of course. Now you can see the hazard light is off. You can turn it on by pressing this button, and there it actually turns on. Yes, yeah, the hazard lights turn on. Only use the hazard lights when the car is stationary. Do not use it when it's in motion or when it's raining. That doesn't make any sense what people do. You can see engine bay is actually quite full. Let's just shut this, and there you can see fake stuff happening right there. So they have made a lot of changes to this car in terms of cosmetics, but largely it remains more or less the same, and minor tweaks to the chassis, suspension. No, the chassis is the same. The suspension has been revised, but we'll come to that when we are driving this vehicle. Let's quickly look at what is new with this bichu. For starters, the grille has changed. Okay, you get these slats right now, which is different, of course, and the new Mahindra logo as well. But why did Mahindra waste their time on this? Because most people will just remove all of this and write Scorpio right there, because obviously you can't make out if this is the Scorpio. Yes, that's right. Jokes aside, coming to the headlights, minor tweaks on the inside. This is a projector, this is a reflector, this is the low beam, this is the high beam, and this eyelash there for the DRL. There's another DRL here. Okay, because the headlight is on right now, this actually shuts. This is the fog light. It also gets cornering function and all that stuff. Now it actually looks quite nice in black, but most people will end up buying it in white, of course. Okay, now coming to the side of the car, the disappointing part is they have changed the alloy wheels. Okay, these new ones don't look as good. They look very much aftermarket. The old ones were really very nice. I love them. And here you can see black treatment on the inside for the alloy wheels. Not a very impressive design, to be very honest. And you know what? They have removed the indicator from the mirror as well. Okay, we've got a side footstep, and this cladding has been carried forward, but this is new. It says Scorpio there. So bit of over the top stuff has been done to attract more buyers, and the buyers of this vehicle happen to be obviously, okay, we'll come to that. But rusting has already happened in a car which has done only 1500 kilometers. That's really very bad. Mahindra really needs to work on its quality. There's a drum at the rear, of course, and you know what? Roof rails seem kind of functional. This goes upwards so that, you know, there's obviously headroom inside, and from the side again it looks more or less the same as before. In fact, if you're not a keen Scorpio observer, you won't really make out the changes, but they've made a major change at the rear. So what they have done is they have put this, you know, cladding right here. They've removed it and they've put this light. Okay, so basically that vertical light is back in the Scorpio. In fact, at night when you come near the car and unlock it, it blinks thrice, and that's something which almost every Mahindra car does. Says micro hybrid here, has a stop start system. Says Scorpio Classic S11, Scorpio written inside the tail lights as well. Okay, you get a rear wiper. There is where the washer comes out from, and here you get a rear spoiler as well. Meanwhile, there is the towing hook. You get rear parking sensors. This is the camera, which is the worst camera I have ever seen in my life. I don't even know how this camera was passed to be put on this car. Maybe it's an accessory, but it's the worst ever. Remove it and throw it. We don't need a camera, but we don't need this one for sure. Okay, Faisal Khan's fingers of truth, scared of this exhaust, which is visible from behind though. And there's this footstep if you want to climb inside. There you can see the spare wheel is not an alloy. It's a full-size one, and you can see the body on frame platform as well. Now it comes with two seating options. You can get a 7-seater and a 9-seater. 9-seater obviously has jump seats. Let's get inside actually. Okay, and here you can put the key to lock and unlock as well. Now you can see there's no boot at all with the seats up. To put the seats down, it's very easy. Just pull this from both the sides, and then you can just push it like this, and then it's time to hit the gym because you have to lift it up like that. And here there's some pockets as well. okay, and then you strap it ahead so it doesn't fall out. But it's so hard and stiff now. That's what she said. It's anyways not going to move. Right now the car cover is lying there. This is the warning triangle. Where are the rest of the toolkits? They are splattered across the cabin. Such unplanning I've never seen in any car ever in my life. Okay, you get proper seat belts at least. The jump seats are more practical, easy to get in and out, of course, but and they also make people very intimate who are sitting here. However, the problem is no seat belts there, so not really very safe. Not that this car is anyways very safe, because we know what happened at Global NCAP, but we'll talk about that when driving the car. Okay, this window actually opens aise karke. Yeah, you can push it outwards, and then some amount of ventilation can happen, or you can like tickle the person. Let's shut this and let's close this as well. There's a handle to hold on to here. Okay, let me put this back here. Now let me pull it upwards. Yes, now it's slotted into place. Now it will not move. There's speakers here, and you know what, this is exposed for the rear defogger. Anyways, let's just shut this. Oh, not much of an effort. Door doesn't feel very heavy, and you know what is the good thing? This car will let you adjust amount of space in the last row by moving this seat ahead and behind. You can do that. So here it's a bit stiff to operate. There you can move it ahead and behind, deciding how much space you want. So what we will do is we will actually push it all the way behind first. Okay, let me get inside and show you that legroom is adequate. It's not that great. Knee room is also okay, fine. It's not that great because I've actually put this seat quite ahead. Otherwise, there's not much space for someone as tall as me. Mobile phone holder. Take that, Skoda Slavia. There's a magazine holder here, twin cup holders here, rear AC vents, but you know what? There's a provision for a charging socket which is not there at all. It's kind of weird. Almost flat floor. What is this doing here? One of the toolkit is actually placed here. That's kind of weird. What's the need to put it here? Anyways, you get an armrest, which is a little effort to operate. So armrest for both the people. Captain seats in the center. But you know what? There's a light placement here. There's a light placement here. Middle passengers do not get one dedicated one. And the headroom is actually good enough for someone as tall as me. Seats are decently comfortable, fabric seats, of course. There's a mobile holder here. There's a bottle holder there, and power window controls there, which is kind of revolutionary. Okay, some amount of fabric here on the door as well. No height adjustable seat belts at the front. You can see the dashboard design looks more or less the same as before. Only thing is, what was earlier silver, they have made it piano black or gloss black for making some change, that is, for the sake of it, that is. Anyways, now to get to the third row, it's not that difficult. Firstly, you get adjustable headrest for all 6 passengers. 7th passenger does not have a head usually, so he doesn't need it anyways. Okay, now if I want to recline the seat, there is this lever which I have to, like this, and there you go. Okay, you can lift it like that and then get inside. Or what you can do is, you can actually recline this seat like this and then do the same thing. And now, check this out. It's easier to walk in, so we shall walk in. Now you can see that there is an armrest for the third row as well. That's kind of nice. Okay, it's a bit short as such. Otherwise, you know what? The model which gets jump seats gets this particular seat in the center row. Thankfully, we have proper seat belts, but there's no seat belt for the second, like the center passenger. That's kind of weird. That's the high mounted stop lamp. What is this? God only knows what that is. Headroom is adequate enough. Under thigh support is non-existent here, and legroom and knee room depends on how you actually negotiate with the passengers in the second row, that is. But you can sit here if you don't have a head, that is, and then you have like unlimited leg room. That's kind of nice. However, the lack of a seat belt here is a big bummer. That side, let me try and get in right there, and you can see, it's a bit tight. So last row is best for children or the people you hate from the bottom of your heart. I wouldn't sit there. And let me just pull this down and shut this. Let's put this up. Space is a bit of a constraint, but then you can walk in and out from here in the center, which is easy and accessible as well. Okay, the jump seat version is more popular because people in rural areas will tend to buy that only, but that's super unsafe, so just avoid it at every cost. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Thank you for reminding me. And it says Scorpio here. The glove box is small, very small indeed. And here you can see they've actually placed the jack right here below the co-passenger seat at the front, because space is a big problem. Where do you keep stuff in this car, right? In fact, you can see door pockets are non-existent. You can't keep a bottle here, although it has this strap, but whatever. Let's shut this. Says M-Hawk right there. Earlier models used to say M-Hawk 140. Because power has decreased, they decided एक काम करते दिखाते ही नहीं है क्या power output वहाँ पे. And there's just one nozzle on the hood for spraying washer fluid. Let's get to the driver's side. Okay. Firstly, you do climb in. Seats seem comfortable and nice. This fabric material is actually good. Okay, like I told you, door pockets are disappointing. One touch up and down for the driver's side for the power windows, and this seems to be illuminated. Okay. To lock and unlock, you have to actually use this button only. This is for the adjustment of the outside rear view mirrors. This is for the headlight leveler. This is to open the fuel lid, and this is for the rear defogger. You get a proper dead pedal there, which is good. Overall quality is average at best, and you know what? This gets the illumination as well, the keyring. So at night, you know exactly where you're putting the key. And let's do one thing. Let's adjust the steering wheel, which is only height adjustable, which is fine. Okay. Now look at the dashboard. What do you think about the dashboard design? I think it looks the same as before, so nothing has changed. But you do get a sunglass holder here on the top. This is a dummy for God knows what. You get a mirror here, no light. You do not get anything right here, but you get some instructions which you should decide if you want to follow or not regarding air conditioning. Although air conditioning is a chiller, this is obviously not auto dimming. You can't even expect it at this price point though, or rather the price is high, but you cannot expect it in such a model. And the dashboard obviously continues with the flat design. Now these are the buttons for the audio system as well as phone calls. Yeah, phone. These are the buttons for the cruise control, the horn. Okay, horn, not that great. This they have actually made piano black. Earlier it was silver or something of that sort. And the new Mahindra logo has been added. The cluster is more or less the same as before. On the left you get a tachometer, on the right you get a speedometer. In the center you get a multi-information display which shows you the fuel, odometer, gear position indicator and twin trip meters. And the button to operate that is actually very hard. Yeah, you have to press it like really stiffly, then only it works, and telltale lights actually come here. They've added a new screen which is full of glares. You can't see a thing right now. You can't see a thing. So what we'll do, we'll put the handbrake down. Before that, let me put this up. Okay, the amazing car perfume from Involve Your Senses, the Involve Rainforest Blackstone. How do you use it? You just put this right there, this tag, the Involve tag. Okay, and let me remove the perfume from my pockets. Faisal Khan's fingers of truth will do that. And all you have to do is spray it twice or thrice there. Yeah, and it brings instant freshness in your car. I know I sprayed it like 4-5 times, but still twice is more than enough. Okay, here into first, and let's start going. Now you notice one thing, earlier cars had voice commands. This one is just ringing. It doesn't have voice commands. Always wear your seatbelt. I was checking whether voice commands work or not. We have to park in a shade, then only we'll be able to see the screen. Otherwise the screen is like never visible. Now will you shut yourself and stop making noise? No, it will not. So what we'll do, we'll turn off the car. Take that. So I'll show you the key of the vehicle. This is to unlock the car, this is to lock the car, and this is to actually, yeah, make it ring so you can spot it where it is. It gets the flip key, okay, because in lower variants you'll have to actually put the key inside to unlock the car, and the new Mahindra logo is here. Now let me do one thing. Let me actually go ahead and turn on the car. So here it does this full swipe up thingy. There's no clutch lock, so I can turn it on straight away. Starts with quite a bit of refinement. Shows the Mahindra logo right there, the new Mahindra logo. This is a 9-inch screen. It's kind of very average. Okay, it's an Android based system, of course. Nothing much inside here, but it'll take 3 years to turn on. I'll show you the air conditioning controls. These are the air conditioning controls. The air conditioning is an absolute chiller of sorts. But where are the charging sockets? It's here hidden. Okay, so you have got the stop start button. Okay, shut the music. It automatically turns on the music. I don't know why they didn't take any consent before doing that. There's a USB charging socket here and an aux right there. Engine start stop button. It's very aggressive actually. This is the hazard light button and a lot of dummy buttons here. Air conditioning actually works well. Gear lever says 6 because it's a 6-speed gearbox. 12-volt charging socket. There's some storage space here. There's this rubber mat here. Twin cup holders right there. And you get armrests which are very heavy, not smooth at all. I don't know who makes this, but it's absolutely hard and stiff. Well, that's what she said. Anyways, it says SRS airbag here. This was earlier finished in silver or something. Now it's gloss black again. You get this sort of wood treatment here in the center console. Coming to this screen, it's a very Jugadu type of screen. Shows you the new Scorpio right there. And clock. Now you can browse through navigation, which does not work because it's not activated probably. Take some time for this to, really respond. So we get out of this. Bluetooth, radio, music, settings, apps. Okay, there are some apps with which probably you will be able to use CarPlay. This is a steering wheel app which lets you actually change the buttons on the steering wheel, what works for what. So that's kind of cool. And coming back, okay, a lot of settings and all that stuff. It's very cumbersome to operate. And stop looking at my hand because I know it's reflecting like crazy. Let's get into reverse. Okay, here dog leg reverse. That is the reverse parking camera. Can you see a thing? Honestly, I can't see a thing. It's such a terrible camera. Please don't give us a camera. I don't need your camera, but I don't need such kind of a camera. How bad is that? Okay, now that's about it. Other than that, okay, these are the controls for the headlights, of course. These are the controls for the wipers. Let's use the wipers right away. Yeah, spray is decent actually. Wipers also fine considering the fact that there's just one nozzle doing the sprays. Let's look at the rear wiper as well since we are at it. Okay, there is also decent spray, so the wipers work well. There's good amount of headroom, like really good amount of headroom, and you get a good view of what's around. Let's do one thing. Let's start driving. Oh, soft limiter right away. All right, we're all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, handbrake down into first gear, and hazard lights off. Revving the motor, and off we go. Oh, red lines at 4,800 RPM, no wheel spin, huh? In spite of the fact that this is a rear wheel drive vehicle, gearing seems quite short. And there the 80 km per hour buzzer also rings. It actually reaches 100 km per hour, actually crosses 100 km per hour, reaching 110 km per hour in third gear itself, which isn't bad. So it's not as short a gearing as I thought. Okay, so basically you can feel that the engine is so much more refined now. Yeah, it is much more refined. Vibrations have also reduced because this is actually the new generation of the M-Hawk diesel engine. What is this noise which it keeps making? It's kind of weird. Anyways, so Arey bhai, shanti rakh. So basically this engine is the new generation of the M-Hawk engine, which also powers the Thar and the lower variant of the Scorpio and the Z2 with 130 horsepower coming in at 3,750 RPM, and the torque output is 300 Newton meters, which comes in at 1,600 RPM and stays there till 2,800 RPM. So in isolation, yes, it seems decently powerful. However, we can't work in isolation now, can we? Because compared to the old Scorpio, power has actually come down, and so has torque. So the earlier Scorpio M-Hawk was noisier, but it was faster because it produced 140 horsepower and 320 Newton meters of torque. So we have lost 10 horsepower and 20 Newton meters of torque here, unfortunately. But this engine is also lighter by 55 kgs because it's using a lot of aluminium, and the result is that it's still slower actually to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. It is also slower in terms of in-gear acceleration, although it's not very bad in terms of in-gear acceleration, the speed reduction or the time reduction. But yeah, outright acceleration is slower by 1.2 seconds. This takes 12.95 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. The earlier car used to take 11.75 seconds. So yes, it is now slower, but then most people will not complain because Mahindra claims that 77% of the torque actually comes in at just 1000 RPM. What is 77%? Well, that 77% equates to 231 Newton meters of torque coming in at 1000 RPM. That's the reason low-end performance is actually very nice. It's actually quite peaky performance, lower down the rev range, so it's very aggressive, the throttle response there, but then it becomes very smooth and linear in the mid-range, and it will not surprise you. It's kind of gradual in the mid-range, and then top end there's nothing there. So don't go over 4000 RPM ever, because it just struggles to its red line of 4800 RPM. It's actually very smooth and refined engine, quite tractable as well, and then you can get off the line quite quickly too, because this gearbox is better now. It's a cable operated gear shift, which is definitely smoother, doesn't have much vibes. Throws are also smoother. The clutch is also on the lighter side. It's kind of progressive, the clutch, and then we get into third, and there, listen to the engine. It becomes vocal in the higher end of the rev range, and like I said, don't go past 4000 RPM. So upshift there, you can feel a bit of vertical movement. Actually, the thing is that the dynamics are as bad as ever. Sorry about that. But yeah, when you compare to the Scorpio N, which you should not, because that's another car altogether, which we will at the end of the video, because I have something to say very interesting which will change your life when you're going to buy such a car. Anyways, so you can hear a bit of the road noise, you can hear a bit of the tire noise as well. Wind noise is well contained, but the A-pillar is so upright and the windscreen also upright, so yes, that wind noise and all those noises do creep inside the cabin. Let's use the wipers, because why not? We can, of course. Yeah, I would say that the fuel efficiency is decent here, because it will return between 9 to 14 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style. This has a 60 liter fuel tank, and then there's this aggressive start-stop system, or the stop-start system, which kicks in very fast. Abruptly, you come to halt, there it will start. In fact, we'll turn on the stop-start system because we can, and then I'm going to come to a halt further ahead. I hate this speed alarm buzzer which keeps ringing all the time. Like you're around 80 kilometers, teen 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 teen. अरे जान लोगे क्या, छोड़ो ना, बस हो गया ना, एक बार समझ गया ना क्या बोलना चाहते हो, बोलो again and again and again. extremely irritating, badly engineered, and very loud as well. Okay, like car companies like Honda do it way better. You can't hear the sound much. Anyways, changing a lane is not as nervous as it was much earlier with the Scorpio, but it still feels a little nervous at higher speeds because obviously body on frame platform not the best as such. And which brings me to a few other things which I missed talking about. Firstly, the middle passenger in the last row actually gets a seat belt, but that was hidden below the mat somehow, so I don't know how you're going to get it to yourself, the passenger sitting there. Secondly, the second row of seats actually recline backwards, so you can completely comfortably sit there and also take a nap as long as you can bear the ride quality of this vehicle. And you know what, ergonomics are really very poor. So if you want to adjust the seat, which I'm sitting on, the driver's seat, you don't have much space. You have to actually open the door, and you have to actually open the door to even access the door pocket, so that's another bit of an issue. And then this car also is a 4-seater, because you can actually remove the third row of seats. It takes some effort. It's very heavy also to move it around, but once removed, you can actually carry stuff there. So if you're going to do an airport run and you don't have many passengers, you can do that. Or if the third row passengers are complaining, they're like, oh, we don't have much space and all, you can remove the seats, tell them to sit outside, because then they have unlimited headroom, plenty of leg room, no issues with knee room, and obviously airy feeling as well. No claustrophobicness too, but I'm not sure if people would like to sit there, but I wouldn't mind. Let's come to a halt. Braking performance is enough to shake everybody inside the car. I think my phone fell there, and then you can see the car turned off immediately, so steering power is also gone. Very aggressive stop start system. I get on the clutch, there it turns on, little bit of vibration, get off the clutch, it might turn off, but now it realized that I don't want it to turn off. Let's turn on the hazard lights, handbrake up, get our phone back. Bagwati, I told you to hold on to the phone. One job I give you, that also you don't do properly. Catch it, and let's go. Hazard lights off, indicator on the right, so we are getting out of this lane and there's no one behind, so not a problem. And you can see steering is still on the heavier side, although it's not as heavy as before. So the engine is better than before in terms of refinement. Everything is much more smoother when compared to before. And you know what, this is a rear wheel drive vehicle which weighs almost 2000 kg, so it's a heavy vehicle. Only thing is that, you know, there's this continuous movement which you can feel, and the movement is just not vertical, it's also horizontal, so it's moving all over the place. And because it has a narrow track, okay, the distance between the front, like the wheels, is not that wide, it doesn't have that planted feel as such, and is always continuously moving. At lower speeds there is this body on frame movement, that lumpiness which you can feel, and as speeds build up it becomes slightly better. And then on really bad roads, that body on frame nature of kind of feeling indestructible is definitely there, so there it feels good. The steering wheel is relatively light, it weighs up decently well at high speeds, but it's not very consistent as such, and the brakes are kind of on the poorer side. So in terms of dynamics, it's a mixed bag, because they've actually stiffened the suspension a bit in order to counter body roll. There's still a lot of roll on offer, so we want to make a lane change here like this, and you can feel the car actually swings. It is swinging, so dynamics are very poor here. There's just too much body roll, and to make things even worse is the fact that it kind of feels nervous when you're taking it around the corner. So that top heaviness is almost always felt. Every time you make a lane change you can feel it. Now I won't make a lane change right now because there's another Scorpio which is coming, so both of us are going to go rolling. That one is even worse in terms of body roll with that M2DI engine, which is kind of hopeless. So in terms of dynamics, still very, very, very poor, this car. And it's just that, you know, it has this commanding driving position. The engine is so tractable. Here I'm actually coming into 6th gear at around 80 kilometers per hour. I get full 100% onto the throttle, and you can see it picks up pace decently. In fact, when you brake, you can feel that nosedive is also there. And you know what, the top speed of this vehicle is around 160-170 kilometers per hour, but honestly that's not the speed you should take this car to, because it just feels nervous, and this speed alarm system is one of the worst I've heard in my life. Which brings me to an interesting, actually it kept the air conditioning on somehow, but I'll just turn it off, which is like the sport mode in this car. Which brings me to the very important question, that is, that should you buy this car? It's old, it's dated, it doesn't have great dynamics, and you know, although the engine is fine, at this price you can get a lot more from Mahindra itself. So for starters, you can even get the Thar, but then you want the practicality of multiple seats here, right? So I have a solution to your problem. So let's go through the pricing of this car. There are only two variants, okay, and there's the base variant, and then there's the S11. This is the S11, which is the top variant, and it's available at the same price for whether you opt for the 7-seater or the 9-seater version, although the 9-seater version would be even worse in terms of safety. And talking about safety now, this car has actually got 0 stars in terms of NCAP rating, which is kind of a confusing thing. At one end of the spectrum, Mahindra is like safety, 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 with the XUV700 scoring very well, the Thar also scoring decently well, and the Scorpio N should also perform well. On the other side, they're still selling a car which doesn't do well in terms of the way the A-pillar collapses under a collision. So that's like double standards. Honestly, Mahindra should really work on the car's structural rigidity rather than just milking its way to the bank, because I know there's going to be a lot of demand for this car. A lot of people who own the Bolero would want to upgrade to something as rugged, and the Scorpio is a dream for many, and I completely understand and appreciate that. But what if you can get a Scorpio which is better in every possible way? Is that even possible? Well, let's talk about that by first stopping, launching, and then understanding how much we can roll. So here we are going to turn on the hazard lights, and this 80 alarm keeps buzzing like crazy. Even when you're not at 80, it still buzzes. I don't know what's the problem it has. Ow, I swing every time I brake. And then the car turns off. Thank you, stop start system, for saving that minute fuel and making me burn in the heat. Onto the clutch, vehicle turns on into first gear, hazard lights off, revving the motor. Oh ho ho ho, little bit wheel spin finally. Oh my god, it really kind of pushes you back. Anyways, so the base variant costs 14.7 lakhs on road Mumbai. The top variant, this one, costs 18.91 lakhs on road Mumbai. These are the prices, which are definitely on the higher side. And I was thinking that if you pay slightly more money, that is 60,000 more, you can get the Z2 variant instead of the base S variant of the Scorpio. Yes, the Z2 Scorpio N, which has the same engine, same layout like rear wheel drive and manual transmission. You can get that by paying just 60,000 more for a much better vehicle. But you know what, if you're planning to get this one for 18.91 lakhs, you can actually save 64,000 by opting for the Z6, which has 42 more horsepower and 70 Newton meters more torque. Plus, you know what, that also is rear wheel drive and manual transmission. And with that 64,000 saved, you can actually go to Karol Bagh and spruce up the car, get alloy wheels on it and all that. That's also a great option. Or you can pay 55,000 more to get the Z4 automatic, or you can pay 1.13 lakhs more to get the Z4 with 4-wheel drive but manual transmission. So honestly, the Scorpio N is the better car to buy. It is just so much better in terms of dynamics. It's modern, better interiors, better quality, better fit finish, and most importantly, for your own safety, that car will definitely be safer as well. So I would suggest you get the Scorpio N, because for similar pricing you get so much more. What is the point of just going behind something which has a legacy when the Scorpio N is going to build that legacy going forward? Here, taking a U-turn, not a problem. Steering is, turning radius is a bit on the high side, and then the steering centers quite nicely as well. There are some big bumps ahead. The WagonR is crawling there. Let us try and go at a fast pace. Oh my goodness, what did I do? You can feel a bit inside, but you know, the car's suspension can take that quite well because the ruggedness is there. And I always try to keep short shifting here because I know there's nothing in the top end as such, but still, this is a car which has a legacy. Now it's time to move on, opt for the Scorpio N. The Scorpio N is just better in every regard, and then you don't even have to pay much more. The Scorpio N is much more expensive when you opt for 4-wheel drive and the higher variant, especially the Z8 and the Z8 option and all that stuff. I think Z8L. But when you compare this car with the Scorpio N, talking about 2-wheel drive, that is rear-wheel drive and manual transmission, they're very evenly matched. Certain features might be missing, but this car doesn't have any features to start off with, so what will be missing in the Scorpio N any which ways? I know the sun is right against our face right now, and I haven't even spoken about the petrol version of the Scorpio N, which is slightly cheaper than the diesel, of course. But since this car is only available with a manual transmission and diesel only with 2-wheel drive, which is rear-wheel drive, there's no point on bringing the other aspects of the Scorpio N into the picture. I know the demand is there because Bolero owners want to upgrade to this car, but in isolation, if you look at it, the Scorpio N is the car to buy. Trust me on this. I know you will have to wait for a few years, maybe your children will get to drive it, but hey, good things take time, and the Scorpio N is one of those cases where the waiting would be worth it. Hopefully Mahindra, you know, pushes its production higher, and I know it's also a case of demand and supply, and with demand and supply, since they're producing lesser units, the demand outstrips the supply. They will definitely keep hiking the prices because that's 101 of business. Also, I would like to apologize to all Scorpio loyalists around who think that I'm just bashing the vehicle. I'm not. I'm just saying it's time to move on, and that's the only way we're going to get better vehicles, when we let go of the old and start accepting the new. Also, I'm sorry for the camera movement which has happened because the car moves so much that it's continuously moving. In the Thar now my camera hangs completely because it just cannot take the body roll. Here also it's moving so much I have no control over it, like sliding here, there and whatnot. And let's do an audio test right away. Audio quality is actually decent. It's not bad, it's not good, it's actually below average, but then what do you expect from a car which is on the way out? And that's the reason it's called classic at the end of the day. Let's do one thing, let's downshift here into second. Come on. Oh. Yeah, it could redline slightly higher at say 5000 rpm, but yeah, 4800 rpm is where the limiter lies. And here hazard lights off, time to stop, maybe hard onto the brakes. Yeah, not sure-footed at all. You could hear I was not even like 80% on the brakes and that sliding. Where's the ABS? It's Sunday, I think it's gone on a vacation. Into first gear, revving the motor, hazard lights off. Oh ho ho, wheel spin. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mahindra Scorpio Classic. If you liked it, make sure to give the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. And don't you forget to check out this awesome car perfume from Involve Your Senses. This is the Involve Rainforest Black Stone. It's fantastic, and you can get it with a 10% discount using coupon code FASTBEAM. Click here to get yours now. Bye bye. Okay, you keep ringing all day. Shut up!